5 years ago, I got my start with Voltage Modular from Cherry Audio, and I thought I would do a video to commemorate our 5th anniversary together. Have my thumbprint voltage patch cord t-shirt on. So I thought I would talk a little bit about Voltage Modular, and probably the first place that I would start is actually with a little bit of this video.
And a couple years ago, we launched a new company called Cherry Audio to build a piece of software that I wanted to build for years, and that software is called Voltage Modular. And I'm just going to demonstrate that very quickly. So Voltage Modular is a software recreation of a Eurorack modular synthesizer. What that means is in software, entirely in software, you can take modules, you can move them around any way you want, you can hook cables up and wire anything together.
That was the video that really got me started on my path. So what basically happened is I saw that video at one point. Dan talked about the Black Friday sale that was coming up. Voltage Modular Nucleus, which is their starter module, was going to be $9. So the standard price is $30. Used to be $30. Now it's free, which is even more exciting, really. But at that time in 2019, if you wanted to get Voltage Modular Nucleus, it was $30. And then at the Black Friday sale, they had it drop down to $9. Well, when Dan explained what it did and how it worked, and the idea of having all of that in my laptop, it was really exciting. So what I ended up doing is kind of checking out the sale. I might have demoed it before I spent the $9. I probably didn't, because it was $9. So I was like, well, it'll be worth $9 to see how this works. And then I checked it out. So on November 26th, that was the day that I'm going to switch off of this so you're not looking at the OBS screen anymore. So November 26th was the day that I purchased Voltage Modular, and the first videos that I was posting on YouTube with it were on November 27th. So right away I figured out how it would work with breath control, how to do simple breath control mapping, and I was kind of off to the races at that point. And really quickly, like within 48 hours, I was buying more stuff because it still had the sale going on, and I realized, okay, I like this a lot. I want to get some more filter modules and stuff, and that's kind of how I got started. And I have quite a bit now. I'm sure not as much as some people, because I use a lot of basic stuff, because with the wind controller, what you basically need is your oscillator, filter, effects. You don't necessarily need all of the other things that someone doing a lot of generative patches and stuff would do. So that's just one super simple patch. I'm not going to talk too much about these. I'll just go through a few of my favorite ones. And a lot of my patches are actually effects patches, so I have to remember which ones are which. These are things that, sure, you could do them in other software, but the nice thing about Voltage Modular is there's all this MIDI control routing and scaling. As you can see, I don't send everything from like 0 to 127. Sometimes it's scaled. Sometimes I put a curve on the breath control, so you can get a lot of expression with it. One that comes up in a different library that is a tweaked patch that I use a lot. In like a lot of these, so this was actually a preset patch, but then I added more stuff to it to make it the way that I like. I do use the synth voice module a lot. That's the ARP sounding one, kind of like a 2600 oscillator and filter, etc. Yeah, and I have issues with some of my plugins not loading, but I can fix this real quick because I know which one I'm going to use. So that's the kind of stuff I was doing with Voltage Modular, and then not too long after that, I have to minimize this so I can see my desktop and get rid of that. They started coming out with more plugins like the DCO 106, if I can find it. And with anything that I open, I'm going to have to switch the audio over because it's probably mapped to the other interface. But I'm not going to do an edited video because I don't have time. There's too much going on. So what was this patch? So that's just classic Juno lead kind of stuff. It's really nice for pad sounds and poly sounds, but I'm not going to mess around with any of that. I don't remember what order. That's what I should have done, is research this, which order they came out in. But so what I'm using is this really old ASIO Link Pro driver because it has loopback for the audio, which is very useful when you're trying to do videos. Okay, so PS20 was another one, and I like a lot of the sounds in this. I actually use this quite a bit. And this is one that, especially if I want some like real punchy sounds, I go to this. So. Then at some point we came out with a mini verse. And again, I probably have to switch the audio real quick. Yeah, that's super fun. And that's certainly a go-to one when I want lead sounds too. Memory mode, which of course is like the memory Moog. And this was a nice one too for leads and stuff. And I do like the ones with the effects a lot if I'm using them in standalone mode like this. That's one thing about mini verses. You always have to drop it into something else to add the effects to it, but that's fine. And I do favor certain sounds, so. It's like another saw lead, yet another saw lead. Here's a really nice free one. I'm going to jump into Surrealistic MG1. So this is a classic, real basic Moog synthesizer, but it sounds great. No effects, but again, it's easy to drop it into a host and add your delay and reverb, whatever. And I have no, I probably have no sound because I'm not, yeah. So, and I noticed that the filter wasn't moving either when I blow. Yeah. Not sure if I even have the MIDI enabled on this. So I don't. Hey, it helps if you turn the MIDI on. it actually has a similar timbre in that to the workshop, which is the emulation of Moog Workstatt. So this has two oscillators, that has one, but same kind of architecture in both of those. I'm trying to jump in and out of the ones that I use a lot. So some of these I don't really use that much. Like, for example, PS3300, I think that's a great instrument. But what happens is the sounds that work for Wind Controller tend to not be super complicated. So what I end up doing is I just jump into PS20 because I have a bunch of patches already programmed. Speaking of freebies, the synthesizer expander module, I think this is like an amazing one for a free plugin. And this is another one. I'm going to have to switch my audio stuff real quick. And this is nice because it's a free one, but it actually has the effects in here. So really good performance panel. If you were going to look for an instrument for live performance stuff, something like this is perfect because it has everything that you need in terms of controls and everything all in like a single panel. It's real easy to read. I could read this one without even my glasses on. I mean, it's such a simple, not that simple, but there's not a whole lot going on with this, and it's just such a rich sound. I'll use that word again, but I just like it. I think it captures the vibe really nice of the SEM filter, and it's a classic. There's a reason that there's been so many different emulations and whatnot for something like an Oberheim, a Moog, an ARP, a Korg, in the Rolands too. So some of these are really good poly sounds. I'm kind of a terrible keyboard player. There's some really fun stuff in this one. I mean, these are this kind of sounds you could just like tinkle around for like an hour because they're just so much fun. I'm not gonna go through all these. I don't know how long I've even been going anymore, or if I'm even still recording. I think I am. And most all of the presets that I'm using on here are actually just factory sounds that I tweaked. That's what was happening. So Quadra's actually open somewhere, but you can't see it. It's the invisible synth. There it is. And it's running, but you can't see it. Let's go back to Voltage Modular. Then back to Voltage Modular. So yeah, it all started with this, and it was 5 years ago. Um, and I mean, I can't say enough about it. The one thing that I haven't really done any of, and I tried to do this the other night and I had issues. We'll see if I can do it properly today. Um, is using Voltage Modular to run another plugin through. So in this example, what I'm going to do is jump into the library, and I'm going to grab the mini plugin host, see how quick I can do this. And this is one thing, if you have the core or higher version of Voltage Modular, it's just a super powerful capability, like superpower, that you can drop any other plugin inside Voltage Modular and use it in that environment. So in this example, what I'm doing is I'm going to use something as a sound source, and I'm going to run it through the modular filters. And what am I going to use? Just for fun, let's throw Surrealistic MG1 in here. It works as a really great sound source. So where am I at? What am I doing? I want to get one of my leads. And then what I'm going to do is unmap the filter from my breath. Level was a little hot in the beginning. So what I'm doing here is I'm running it through a VCF 20 filter and a ladder filter, and then I have the internal filter of MG1 wide open, so I'm just basically using it like an oscillator. But you could do this with any instrument, and if you have something that has effects on it already and then you run it through the filter, it's really interesting because the filters can open and close, and then the original effect, when the filter's closed, you don't hear it. So if there's like an echo, it's real interesting the way that it interacts. It's fun playing around with the self-oscillating filter. So anyway, that's back to Voltage Modular again. Been pretty fun working with it for 5 years, and it's basically an endless source of possibilities. So it makes it really fun. So thanks to my friends at Cherry Audio for making such awesome software to create sound and music with.